And then I just found a bunch more runners on Twitch, and I watched more and more, and it was really fun.
Yeah, so what kind of made you, because you obviously think it's cool. You saw Punch Out. Obviously, you had some history with Punch Out. But what kind of made you think I want to do Twitch? I want to stream myself.
Yeah, so I had been speedrunning kind of offline for a little while. Like I did Mario 1 offline just because I saw, all these other people playing it, and I didn't really feel like streaming it, but I just wanted to do some attempts offline, and I got like a 510 or something, and and then I started messing with Punch Out a little bit because I watched Sinister One do that a lot, and I got pretty good at it, and eventually when I got my personal best time down low enough, I figured there's no reason I shouldn't be streaming this because I could get the world record, and if I got the record offline, that would kind of suck. So I should figure out if I should maybe start streaming soon. And I worked it out, and yeah, and I loved it as soon as I started doing it.
Was there any kind of special reason you chose Punch Out other than you were just good at it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I watched so the three streamers that I watched the most were probably like this is back in like early 2014, mid 2014. It was Andrew G, Sinister One, and Mitch Flower Power,
Mm-hmm.
and so I those were the three games I was most familiar with because they each ran Mario 1 for Andrew G, Sinister ran Punch Out, and Mitch ran Mario 3. And Mario 1, like I did a little bit. I knew I couldn't get anywhere near the level that the top guys were doing, so that was just fun to watch and do casually. And Mario 3, it was kind of the same deal, because Mario 3, he used to do a lot of any percent warpless, which is like an hour long, and I wasn't about to learn all the 100-something levels that you need to learn to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just watched so much Punch-Out that I kind of picked up on what he was doing, and he also made a tutorial right around then for a bunch of his fights, so I learned the ones that I didn't know, and I practiced them a lot, and I had fun with it, and there weren't that many other people doing Punch-Out, so it wasn't like super competitive, even though it is a little bit more competitive now. There weren't many people back then doing it, so I don't know, it just worked out pretty well.
And for those that don't know, Punch Out's pretty much, to the layman, it's kind of like a rhythm game with reaction involved too. But it's really like a rhythm game, kind of, right? Like it's all about the timing of when to do stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of timing based stuff. It's of every NES game that I know, I don't know if I want to say it has the most RNG in it, because I don't know that for a fact, but without a doubt, it's one of the most RNG heavy games that I know of.
Mm-hmm. So that make it more frustrating for you when you try to run it, because like so much is out of your hands, even if you play perfect, right?
Yeah, at this point, the run, I think, is more... when you get to a certain level in that game, it turns into more RNG than it does skill. You're kind of just executing the same way every time and hoping that it lines up. There's still skill involved, of course, because the last fight, it's Mike Tyson, and if that whole fight is about landing frame-perfect punches, and you have a 60th of a second to time those, and you don't land as many of them as you can. So that part's always really intense. But
Yeah,
yeah.
so for me, when I saw Sinister, I'm not even a big Punch Out person. Like I know it's a game, and I knew it was around. And I played it before when I was a kid, but when I saw Sinister One play it blindfolded, I was like, oh my god, this is like another level, right? So when you saw that, what did you think when you first saw Sinister One do that blindfolded?
Yeah, that's the same thing as you. Like, how is this even possible? I couldn't comprehend it. And then once I started speedrunning myself, I was able to beat the game blindfolded without even learning many of the strategies, just because I had played it so much. So any other top runner of the game can do the same thing. It's not just me.
Okay.
But back when he did it, nobody else had really even attempted it, so it was super crazy.
Yeah, that was a lot of people, remember that run. The first time he did it at GDQ, it was definitely really awesome. So last year, that Easter egg kind of was found where there's someone in the background of Punch Out. For that doesn't know, Punch Out's a boxing game, and there's a crowd in the background. And there's a little Easter egg found where the little dude with the beard or something, he would go move his head down a pixel or whatever, and if you threw a punch at that time, the dude would get knocked out. So I'm sure you heard about that last year. And when that happened, did you like kind of like renew your want to play the game and kind of find other stuff like that, or what did you feel when you found that Easter egg or heard about that Easter egg?
Everybody who sped run Punch Out back then already knew about that Easter egg. It had been discovered a few years prior, and this guy like kind of rediscovered it, and every single news source made a huge deal about it. But in reality, it was already been known for a few years. So, but I actually talked to the guy who made that on Reddit, who like made the post, and he's a really nice guy, and I kind of befriended him. So I like the guy who made it, but he didn't really discover anything new.
If I was you, I would kind of go through the game though a few more times now, trying to look for anything like that. Have you ever done that? Kind of really look in the background, try to see anything that's going on, like try to find other stuff like that.
Yeah, we've been looking, but the only other crowd cue that there's the few like there's the flash on the camera flash, and there's the guy with the beard opening his mouth. Those are the two known ones. The one that really hasn't been covered by the media is Super Macho Man. There's this guy with the sunglasses in the background, and whenever he does a spin punch, he drops his sunglasses. So,
Okay.
but I don't know if I really want to go too in depth on this because this isn't really much like of a punch out podcast, but there's a way that you could do with this sunglasses guy. You could punch Macho Man at the right time, and it causes the sunglasses guy to freeze, and then that causes the game to soft lock.
Okay, cool. So there you go. Also, a huge thing you do, it's your world progression videos, which for those that don't know, is kind of like mini documentaries, really, of a certain game and how the time has come down, 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 the strategies go down, down, down. So what kind of gave you the idea to start those?
So the thing with me is there's so many things that I've been doing lately that it can all be traced back to Punch-Out. And this is no exception to that. It's once again Sinister One. He had a video up on YouTube called Piston Honda 2 Strategy Evolution. And I think you could still watch it today. It's still up on his YouTube channel. And he talks about this one fight, Piston Honda 2, and how over the course of about 25 years, people were able to lower the time down, down, down to where it is today. But unlike my videos, this video is 90 minutes long. And it's just him doing a Twitch stream, turning on his camera, turning on window capture, and showing all the fights and talking over them in a very unscripted way. And so I saw that, and by that time I was speedrunning Punch-Out, and I was also making some videos about Punch-Out. Like, I made a tutorial on how to soft lock the game and how to do a couple other things. And I thought, well, okay, how about I make one of these, except I make it for a different fighter. And if I was able to use video editing and make it, 15-minute video, that would probably make it a lot more easy to watch. People would probably be into it a little bit more. So I tried it. I made one for Mike Tyson. And it didn't get that popular, obviously, because Punch-Out's not a very popular game, but got still a few thousand views. People said, oh yeah, you should do this for some more games, because even though it wasn't popular, people who saw it really liked it. So I thought, okay, what other games do I know? I know Super Mario Bros. Because Andrew G. So, and I already knew the history for that one back till I knew Scott Kessler had it, but before him, I didn't really know who had it, what the times were. So I had to research it a little bit. The rest of it I already knew, so I made that video. I remember when I made that video, I took it was 12 hours a day for 2 or 3 days, just because I happened to have the time. And I put it out, and yeah, that one exploded really quickly. So then I kind of figured, well, alright, I guess I should just start doing this more if these are all going to get this popular, and they did.
The thing about your videos is they kind of so many different people can enjoy them. You don't have to be a speedrun fan to enjoy it. If you like the video game, you can enjoy it. If you like kind of like documentaries, you can enjoy it. And I think that's what makes them kind of so popular as they are. I mean, I'm guessing. I don't really know. But so how do you go about your research? Is it just, is it just Googling the game, or how do you kind of go about finding the kind of history in these games?
Yeah, it kind of depends from game to game. For some of the older videos, like I was kind of mentioning, I didn't have to do hardly any research because I just knew it, because those are the games I was so familiar with. And then the next few, I wasn't really sure how to go about them at first, because didn't know. I had never experienced doing a bunch of research like this before for something. So I ended up finding some Google Docs that had the records on them and how they got lower, and those were really convenient. Like for Mario 64, there was one. Super Metroid, there was one. And in retrospect, those weren't always the most accurate things ever. The Mario 64 one, the early runs, the Google Doc had all this information that was wrong about them, and it went into my video. So a little bit sketchy there, but
oh yeah, I want to talk about that one, especially because someone had a comment that I think is interesting. Let's call him what he is. He's basically I would say if there's a Mount Rushmore speedrun, he's on there. But he said something. He didn't like what you're saying. I think I have it here right here. He said something. this is Siglemic talking here. The entire first half of this is pretty inaccurate, which is funny considering there's actually a Google Doc stating the real world record progression. But considering you just use Google, nicely done, and you have a dialogue. What did you think when he commented on you and on that? And he obviously was pretty unhappy with your work. So what did you feel about
so
that?
just to address what he said, first off, talking about a Google Doc, when I made this video, there were 2 Google documents out there. The one he was referring to was, I think, accurate all the way through. The one I was looking at, it was made by somebody else, and it was accurate back until like 2010, I want to say. And then before that, I think about